Hello, everyone, and welcome back to part 2 of our E3 special 2021. This is Talkin' Games with Kellie and Andrew. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Andrew.
Oh my goodness, this has been quite the plot twist. So
Gotcha.
Andrew, you ready to hop into it?
I am, yes.
Okay,
This is actually Kellie.
Yeah, I was gonna stop the meme because that would be exhausting.
But I got you guys pretty good, huh?
Oh yeah, I bet the audience was just like, huh?
Yeah, they were probably confused.
So let's hop right in. How about it? Do you want to go into that Ubisoft forward?
I do, yes.
So Ubisoft.
Go ahead, sorry.
You want to go? You want me to go? You want to go? You want me to go?
You go.
I go.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing but organization here at Talking Games. So Ubisoft had an E3 event on Saturday. They opened up their event with a new trailer for Rainbow Six Extraction, which is a 3-player co-op game. It is about an alien infiltration. There's going to be cross-play, which was confirmed, and there was lots of footage shown. I'm going to be honest, not really super into Tom Clancy games usually. Just kind of a little too military-y for me. But as far as these games go, this one definitely looks the most appealing to me out of what I've seen in the past few years. The alien stuff is really trippy and gross. I like a lot of the monster designs, and the 3-player co-op looks fun. I won't play it because, it's one of those things where, like, playing a full campaign game and getting 2 other people to play it with you start to finish, that's just a hassle. So, but it does look nice. I will give them that.
Yeah, I feel the same. I've never been into the Rainbow Six games. I think they're, like, way too competitive for how they play, and I don't know. It did look cool, but I could do without, and I will.
Yeah.
So,
and that game's out September 16th of this year, so that's coming real soon if you are interested.
Yes. Something that might be coming soon, but we don't know. Rocksmith Plus, which sounds like a really cool and fun Rock Band-esque game. It is not
at all.
It's like a guitar teaching service. Like you learn how to play guitar.
Yeah, something you would not expect at an E3 conference.
Right. And like I said, no release date, but you can register for the open beta right now. And it's going to be like a subscription service. So, that's pretty cool, but feels like kind of, why did they announce it at E3? I don't know.
I don't know. One thing I will say that a good meme from the internet was people saying, hey, people who are looking forward to getting Rayman at the Ubisoft conference, like, shut up. You did get Rayman. Because obviously there was no Rayman game announced. But during that Rocksmith thing, they were scrolling through a list of, like, music that you can learn to play. And one of the things was the Rayman soundtrack. And they're like, see? You guys complaining for no reason.
See? Why are you upset?
Talking about an actual video game, the next game they showed off was called Riders Republic. It is an outdoor traversal sports MMO, which just sounds real goofy. They showed a bunch of different modes. The game will include snowboarding, biking, parachuting, jetpack, and, call back to our first part, a squirrel suit.
A squirrel suit?
That's why I want the game.
Yeah.
It's out September 2nd. I'm gonna be honest, if you like describe that to me, I would like giggle and say, haha, that's kind of cool, and then not be interested. But seeing it kind of looks fun. Kind of looks like a goofy, fun, good time.
Yeah, I'm trying to determine, like, its survivability, because I feel like a lot of MMOs sort of bank off of, like, get this loot, level up. Get this loot, level up. It sort of feels like an MMO that doesn't really have that structure is not quite as, I don't really know.
It just looks fun when you're like I'm watching some snowboarding as we speak. Like, it's just fun that you could do like these tricks and stuff, but you're surrounded by people. You know what it reminds me of, interestingly? Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Oh. Yeah.
because in that game during the wild area, you're kind of doing your own thing. You're just walking around doing whatever you got to do, or in this case, riding a bike or snowboarding or something like that. And you're just surrounded by other people all doing their own thing, and they don't really have a direct impact on you generally. But it's just kind of cool to see all those people around you. Feel less like an alone in this giant world. So
That's true, yeah.
and maybe that's not the fairest comparison, considering in Pokemon Sword and Shield it didn't work at all. And your game would run at 12 frames per second if you did it. But if it works in this game, which the trailer implies it will, it honestly seems like an interesting way to do, that kind of sporty, outdoor sporty, fun gameplay.
Yeah. I agree. Looks pretty interesting. They also announced some updates for Rainbow Six Siege. Not really the most exciting news from Ubisoft, but
what are you talking
really
about?
know.
I'm jumping up and down. Can't you see me right now jumping up and down?
Right. He's so excited.
I can't even handle myself.
So in other exciting news, Just Dance 2022. Were we shocked? Were we surprised?
I was.
I was not.
Oh.
I was not surprised.
Now I feel a fool.
Yeah, you better, because I haven't played a Just Dance in a long time. So that's just another thing from Ubisoft. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate the E3 2021 extravaganza.
It's almost like they release the same game every year. Almost. Like it's exactly the same with new songs.
Yeah, it's almost like they do.
Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to check if Just Dance 2022 is coming out for the Nintendo Wii. That is what we're going to... This is live research.
No way.
Here we go. Just Dance 2022 coming to... Why is it difficult to find this? Xbox One, PS4, Nintendo Switch, Series X, and PS5.
There's no way they would release it for anything other than the Switch.
This is the first year that it hasn't been on Wii, right?
I don't think it was on the Wii last year. I don't think they make games for the Wii anymore.
Just Dance 2020 was the last Wii game. So that's pretty recent in the grand scheme of things. I think it was kind of fair for me to assume that 2022 might be.
Yeah, that's true.
But hey, I tried.
So another game that we received some information about was Assassin's Creed Valhalla. They talked about some updates, new DLC, and then they're doing like a history-based, quote-unquote, discovery mode. I didn't play Valhalla, so I don't really have any, I'm not really that big into Assassin's Creed anymore, so it's hard to get excited about this stuff, but it's cool for people who like the game and maybe history buffs who are like really into Vikings and stuff.
I'm glad it's not an annual series anymore. I think that's enormously important to that series' vitality now, so.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
So after that series of little updates, we got some updates on some actual upcoming interesting games. Far Cry 6 was shown off in a new trailer, and I know we talked a bit about this after Summer Games Fest, and also the week before when they showed another trailer. It feels like they're showing new trailers every week, but this felt like a real proper introduction to Giancarlo Esposito's villain. It showed him entering a boat with the main character to retrieve his son, and it was a violent scene. It really showed him being quite evil, but also, in my opinion, a little bit more believable than prior series villains, because it really does feel like something a dictator would do, like a real world dictator. So I'm actually really interested to see this villain in action.
Yeah. I thought it was almost a little bit underwhelming in terms of like character models. I don't know if I sound like a snob, but it just looked a little bit like dated.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's not really the most cutting edge looking game.
Which is shocking because I feel like the past Far Cries have been very like ahead in that department. So
it kind of just looks like Far Cry 5 quality, honestly. Like they didn't do much since then.
Yeah, or even like 4. I don't know. It looked a little bit like a early PS4 game, which I don't know, but I'm intrigued about the story, and I have been since the launch trailer, or not the launch, the first trailer. So we'll
Yeah.
see. With this, they also announced a mystery DLC where you play as all the villains. So not all the villains, but starting with like Voss from 3, who everybody loved. Pagan Min from 4, and then John Seed from 5. I think it was John. I didn't play 5. So you play as the villains, I guess. And then they teased Blood Dragon, which was like a Cyber 80s themed DLC that came out with Far Cry 3. So I don't really know if they're like remastering it or if it's like a sequel. I know a lot of people really liked Blood Dragon, so I think it would be cool if it got either one of those. So
I'm very curious because they showed a little bit of some first person gameplay, but it was very vague on what exactly this will be. And it's included with the season pass for 6. But like, is it just going to be like kind of like a non-canon, peculiar, trippy experience where you play as those 3 characters? Or will it be something like legitimately telling their backstory or something?
yeah, I'm not sure. I'm probably the most familiar with Oz, and it looked like it was like the main character from 3, whose name
Yeah.
I can't remember. Jason,
Paul,
maybe.
Tim,
It
Phil,
was very like it
John.
was like intentionally bland. No offense to anyone with that name, but it was like intentionally very like, this is just a guy. He's just a regular guy. So I thought that was interesting. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, pretty soon.
Very soon, yes. Let's go.
I love it. I love little visual gags. In other far more surprising news, Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, the sequel to the 2017 game, was announced. This introduced a lot of different content from the Galaxy games. There are going to be Rabid Lumas. They are called Sparks, which is from the title Sparks of Hope. They're going to be very integral to the story, according to the creators. They showed Rabid Rosalina, a unique villain, which I really appreciated, something not based on Mario or Rabbids. They showed that Bowser will be in the game. And then we heard some words from director Davide Soliani, who, if you're at all integrated to video game and meme culture, you're aware is the guy that cried at E3 2017 when he was acknowledged by Miyamoto. He's still an absolute legend. They showed some pre-alpha gameplay. It looks to be getting rid of the strict grid system that the original had, which I think, like, you can actually move around, it looks like, and back and forth, whereas in the original you used a pointer to pick a block and your character would automatically move there. Now it looks like you have direct control over where you go, and it's more just like circles and stuff, like general guidelines about how far you can go, but it doesn't actually, it's not a grid, like I said. And that's coming out in 2022. They released both a cinematic and a gameplay trailer. We could talk about that a little bit, but sadly, we should say that this was spoiled a couple hours before it was shown. I feel like I'm used to leaks happening like, a week out, a couple weeks out, you hear some news about something that's going to get shown. But in this case, Nintendo's website was updated just a couple hours before Ubisoft's conference, and the main key art and some screenshots for the game all went up. So this was something that we went in knowing was going to happen.
Yeah. I thought it looked very nice. I have never played a Rabbids game, but I do like that they incorporated elements of like Super Mario Galaxy, like the Lumas, and then Rosalina, the Rosalina Rabbid, who I really liked. She had a lot of personality. And I thought the little Luma Rabbids, the Sparks, were really, really cute. Because I think Lumas are cute. I don't think Rabbids are cute. But when you combine the two, it's very cute. So a lot of my judgment of the game is how cute the things are in it. So it was a bummer that it leaked. because I hadn't really been following the Ubisoft presentation until like the middle of it. Like I hopped in when the Far Cry trailer was going on, and I was like, um, people in the chat were like, because I was watching on Twitch, people in the chat were like talking about how the next one was going to be the Mario and Rabbids sequel, and I was like, how do they know this? But then I realized there was a leak, and I was like, that sucks. That really sucks for the developers. I feel like, though sometimes I do feel like the leaks tend to come from the marketing department who are just trying to like create hype. But
I mean, the first game leaked months in advance. That game was like, there were rumblings of Mario plus Rabbids for like months before it was announced, and then like some screenshots leaked in like May before the June E3, and that was like one of those things where I honestly think the leak was a good thing, because that Mario plus Rabbids concept was so wild and just sounded awful when you just say that Mario and Rabbids are crossing over, because Rabbids are kind of awful. A lot of people hate them. I don't like them. So kind of like settling us into the idea before they showed it was a good idea. And then once we saw it, I personally was very excited because, the whole point of it is that they tone the Rabbids down a lot to kind of match Mario's energy more. And that's why I enjoyed it as much as I did. I recommend getting the first, if you haven't played it or anybody listening hasn't played it. That game is always on sale for like $5. It's insane. And for $5, can't really beat it. I recommend trying it out. And I think the next game looks like a pretty big step up, and I'm glad they're doing more original content instead of all Mario and Rabbids stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I know I say that a lot, but we're of a like mind,
We are of a like mind.
And then for their one more thing, they announced their Avatar, the Blue People, not the Last Airbender, Frontiers of Pandora, which is a first-person game that uses the Snowdrop engine, which is like a beautiful next-gen engine. It's going to come out in 2022, supposedly. We'll see, because the Avatar movies, I think the fourth one was supposed to be out by this year. So, I know it's two completely different things, but I just thought that was funny.
No, that's a fair assumption, because, those cross-marketing, that gets them a lot of attention and money, so wouldn't surprise me if they moved it to fit the movie schedule.
Right. I don't know. This didn't really pique my interest that much. I don't really like Avatar, though. I think the movie's kind of bad, so.
So here's my opinion on it, because I also don't really care for the movie all that much, but I think they built an interesting world, potentially. And I think video games are inherently the best medium for exploring interesting, like, alien and unique worlds like this. So if it was really well executed, I think this could honestly surpass the movie a lot. Like, just exploring that world, Pandora, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think exploring that world in a video game could be really special. And if the Snowdrop engine is as beautiful as this trailer implied, which again, this could have just been pre-rendered in the engine and it was kind of deceiving, but if it looks like as good as this trailer, again, I don't really care for the Avatar IP, but also it could be very interesting if it's done very well.
Yeah, I think they could take a world that was a little bit generic sci-fi fantasy and turn it into something a lot more substantial. But
yeah, and that's why I think they should have made a very well-produced game instead of making 30 movies or whatever they're doing. So
30 movies that were like supposed to be out by now.
Yeah. That was the wrap up for the Ubisoft conference, though. So shall we move on to the next show?
Let's move on.
Later on Saturday, we had the Devolver Digital Max Pass Plus, which was, if you didn't watch it, a real wacky event. It was, they always do a parody of E3. So the Devolver Max Pass Plus is a fake product that is making fun of every current streaming and subscription product, essentially. And the conference itself was very entertaining, completely ridiculous. I highly recommend watching it, even if you've seen the trailers and heard the news. It's still fun to watch. But today we will be talking about the actual news. The first game that they showed off was called Trek to Yomi. This is a side scroller inspired by Akira Kurosawa, who made a lot of very classic samurai films, black and white, beautiful films, with a very distinct style. It is coming out in 2022, and in my opinion, it looks like Ghost of Tsushima merged with Inside. It's really something else.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly think... Go ahead.
That tracks because Ghost of Tsushima was based off of Kurosawa films. Or heavily inspired, I should say, not based off of.
This game looks like it takes a much more direct inspiration. Like, Ghost of Tsushima's kind of like loosely inspired, but this game, like, some of the shots in this trailer just look like a Kurosawa film.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all in black and white, which is a very bold choice for a video game, you know? I was shocked at the graphical fidelity of this trailer. For an independent studio, it looks really insanely beautiful.
Yeah.
This is honestly one of my highlights of E3. I was not anticipating something like this, but I really am looking forward to playing this game next year.
Yeah, it looks cool. They also announced Shadow Warrior 3. I didn't know there was a 1 or 2. I've never heard of this game. The trailer was crazy. It was like just straight up running and jumping and kicking and fighting and killing. The gameplay didn't really capture me, but maybe I'm not maybe that's just not my style of game. But yeah, it looked very, and I quote, bombastic.
It looks like Doom, but
yeah,
way more colors. I think Doom is a beautiful game, but Shadow Warrior 3 is clearly going for like a hyper saturated neon look, and I appreciate it a lot. I think it's going to be, I mean, like the extremely fast paced first person shooting action, very clearly a lot of Doom inspiration.
Yeah.
But speaking of first person games, the next game that they showed off was Phantom Abyss, which is a highly challenging first-person platformer. It's coming out very soon on early access on June 22nd. First-person platforming games are not a common thing. You know, we got like Mirror's Edge and Mirror's Edge. It's basically all that comes to mind, generally.
Yeah.
And
listen.
Go ahead.
I'll be the one to make the joke. It's just fancy Temple Run.
It does look like Temple Run. I was just going to say that because he's grabbing an idol in the entrance or the opening of the trailer.
Yes, the idol looks like the one from Temple Run.
But it looks good, you know?
It does.
I'm excited to see. It's in early access, so I won't be able to play it because I don't have PC. So it'll be nice that hopefully by the time I play it, it will have improved from its early access version, and I will be playing a very, you know, defined, high-quality product.
Do you feel like it's highly challenging because it's first person?
Yeah, I mean, inherently not being able to see around you only in one direction makes it challenging. But also, like, it's throwing. This trailer makes it very clear they're going to be throwing a whole lot at you. So
yeah.
If you have any amount of motion sickness caused by video games, don't even watch the trailer.
No.
That's my very firm advice.
That is mine as well. So they also announced Death's Door, which is coming July 20th to Xbox and PC. It's a 3D isometric combat game. It's really fast-paced. Combat game. Boss-centric. Not really my style of game, but it might be yours. I don't know.
I mean...
What do you think? The style is interesting.
It's very well polished. If isometric games are kind of like a dime a dozen these days, so it's like you have to do something really special to pull it off and make it interesting.
Are they little birds?
They're little bird people, I think.
Oh my god.
It kind of looks like an intense Monument Valley as far as the style goes.
They're little birds.
I like that they're birds and that's what's going to sell it for you.
Honestly, I'm starting to come around to it. They're little birds. It's cute. Maybe they're not.
They have bird.
There's a
Oh, they might just be.
frog.
They might be plague doctors. Who's to
Yeah,
say?
I can't really tell. I mean, Death's Door, if they were crows or ravens, that would make sense.
Yeah, we'll have to ask the developers.
We will. It
But
looks
it's out.
it.
It's out very soon, so
That's true.
I'm gonna say I'm a little disappointed it's not on Game Pass because it is Xbox and PC exclusive. So it's very strange to me that they also didn't get a hold of a Game Pass spot.
Yeah, you would think.
But hey, who am I to complain? We got 1 billion games in the last episode for Game Pass, so.
That's true.
The next game that they showed off was a new game from the creator of Pony Island, which, if you have not played or heard of it, it is not cute. It is it is often compared to Doki Doki Literature Club and Undertale in that it is quite subversive. Definitely defies what you would generally expect from a game like that. So that creator is making a new game. It is a card-based game, which to me is usually like, that's a big no. I'm not big into card games, card video games. But if you watch this trailer, it's very strange, surreal, and like there's a lot that's going to be, beyond what you'd expect from a card-based game for sure. So I'm ready to be spooked by whatever this game has in store.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like, I don't know, like the Rusty Lake puzzle games that it's just like a little bit weird and creepy and there's like animal heads and stuff. I mean, Rusty Lake, they're literally animals, but I don't know. I think it looks kind of cool. I'm not really into that type of thing, but it looks just intriguing enough that I might be like, actually, yes.
I think it'll be talked about by a lot of people upon release, at the very least.
Yes, I would agree with that. So the final announcement at the Devolver Digital show was for a game called Demon Throttle. It is a classic shoot 'em up. It's coming to the Switch just physically. It's a physical exclusive, so a little bit
peculiar.
But the trailer was very short. It's like a pixel, it's an old game. It's like a classic. It's not anything crazy, but it's coming out in 2022, which I think is also odd. Why is it taking so long? It's literally just the old game.
I disagree. So it's interesting. This was announced, and a lot of people were like, "That's kind of cute. That's a fun way to do it." Because if you're making an indie game, it's always available digitally, usually only digitally. But in this case, it is only available on physical card. I think it's a bad idea because collectors are a very aggressive type, and they're probably all going to buy this game up right away and keep their copy sealed for collectors' reasons, which means like nobody's going to play this game.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's a funny concept. They did it kind of like as like a commentary and a parody, but like that commentary and parody is costing this developer players,
Yeah.
So
What a
I
weird
don't know.
choice.
We'll see how successful it is. Hopefully it's like so well stocked that it's not something that collectors feel the need to buy everything of. I guess we'll find out soon enough.
I guess we will.
But that wrapped up the Devolver Max Pass Plus show. Next on the docket, we had Square Enix. I wrote AKA The Marvel Show because, oh my goodness, this was one of the worst paced conferences I've seen in my life.
It was bad.
And the thing that sucks, it was a good set of showing. Like, there was good games to be shown, and it was just so horribly paced. If this was a 25-minute show, it would have been like critically acclaimed. People would have been like, wow, like that was really tight and showed a lot of cool stuff and was speedy. But instead, They showed one game, which we'll talk about in a moment, for like 20 some minutes. And then they announced a remaster for another series of games, which we'll talk about in a minute. And they gave it 20 seconds. That's not an exaggeration. And I was just like, uh, what?
Yeah, they don't really know their audience.
No. But let's get right into the news. They opened with a new game from Eidos Montreal, Guardians of the Galaxy. It is going to be a single-player, third-person action game. And I wrote, thank God it had Bonnie Tyler in it. They had I Need a Hero, or Holding Out for a Hero, the classic 80s song, over the initial reveal trailer. It's coming out October 26th, which shocked me, you know. I was not expecting such a soon release date for a game we didn't know about till that conference. It's coming out for PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, and maybe something else, which we will talk about later. It had as I said, extensive gameplay shown. Some might say too extensive.
Some might say we played the whole game.
I don't mind a 20-minute gameplay demo, but that's something you release as like a video after your conference, not during it.
Yeah.
It showed off that it has shooter combat with a nice team command system. It kind of reminded me of like a very fast-paced version of the team command system from Mass Effect, honestly. Which, if implemented well, that could be really cool. There's a lot of licensed music included. The trailer showed a couple different songs. There's going to be choices that you can make with a narrative, and there's some leveling RPG elements. I think the game looks really good. It left a bad taste in my mouth because of the presentation, which sucks. Like, I was excited for this game, and then 15 minutes later, I was sick of this game.
Yeah. I know. I feel like I am always very wary of these games that are like, hey, it's kind of like the movie, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like the movie, but it's not really. So I don't know. That's kind of how I feel about the Avatar one. That's kind of how I feel about any video game that sort of is in line. I know this is more like the comics, but I just don't trust it because Guardians of the Galaxy is really more recognizable now because of the movies. So,
yeah, we'll have to wait and see on this one. The fact that it's out very soon makes me feel slightly better. Because it didn't have like an overblown, super long development cycle that we knew about. Like, they just showed it and they're like, out in 4 months. It's like, oh, okay. Nope, not much time to ask questions, which might be better in our case.
Yeah.
We'll know soon. We'll know very soon. So, got to keep an eye on this one.
Right. They also announced Final Fantasy 1 through 6 pixel remasters, quote unquote, teased for both PC and mobile.
No
the
console.
Mobile made me very wary.
And the fact that there's not even like a Switch port, like what?
I know. I don't really get it. I really like Final Fantasy 6. But I'm a little bit worried.
We also don't know what a pixel remaster means, which is a little.
It's not really a remaster, is it? If you're making it worse.
I don't really know. If it's like an Octopathy kind of pixel remaster, that'd be cool. But like Square Enix owns the Octopath team, so I think they would have said that pretty straight up if that was the case. I don't know. I'm weary of this. I think, again, it was the fact that they spent 20 minutes on Guardians and then immediately moved on to 20 seconds of this. And I'm like, wait, can't you at least tell me what that means? Do you not have freaking time in this conference? Yeah. Who's to say?
Who's to say?
But they kept talking about mobile games after that. They announced that Nier Reincarnation, the mobile game, will be getting localized. That is not a spin-off or anything. That is a completely canon, separate game. I have not played it. I have looked into some of the lore implications of the game, but I'm excited to be able to actually play it in English soon. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. They also showed some new content for the Avengers. Hawkeye and Black Panther are coming later. Black Panther's free. I don't really know anybody who plays the Avengers game, so this is exciting for those that do. I also kind of feel like it's weird that Hawkeye and Black Panther weren't already there, but whatever.
Yeah, I think it's nice that Black Panther's free. We called them out a little bit last week because we were like, "Huh, it's really."
They listened.
They heard us.
They hurt
Because it's a
us.
little messed up to make money off a franchise that has become more popular, partially because of the death of its star. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so making it free feels pretty respectful, not just to Chadwick Boseman and the Black Panther crew, but also to like Avengers players who kind of have been treated like crap. Like the few people who are still playing that game getting treated like garbage by the developers. It's kind of like, please give them content they deserve. So I'm glad that they are giving it away for free.
Right. I would agree with that.
The next thing they showed is something that I have been looking forward to for years. And to say I was disappointed is an understatement. They showed off Babylon's Fall, which is Platinum's new action game. I am one of the biggest Platinum fans that you can find. I freaking love every game they make. This game was announced as like a fantasy action game, character action game. It was shown at the conference to be a multiplayer live service game, which anytime I see the word live service, I assume a game is going to be bad. That is my assumption now, because it has not been proven to work, except some people like Destiny 2. It's basically it. And the fact that Platinum, one of my favorite developers on the planet, is making one of these things, and it could have been like a Platinum fantasy-based game, could have been so interesting. I was just so disappointed. I talked last week about how excited I was to see this game, and as soon as they cranked it up and it was 4 people running and the resolution was like 240p and that wasn't the stream, it just looked that bad. I don't know. Sad. That's what I'm feeling.
Yeah. I wanted to see the trailer just for reference. It has 549 likes. Okay. It has 1,200 dislikes. That's the ratio that we're dealing with.
It also only has 50,000 views, and this is only one of them. I know, like, there's lots of versions of the trailer, but like E3 trailers are usually like 6 digits at least for interesting stuff. So like, this is going to flop. This is going to just come out and be a failure instantly. And I don't know how Square Enix can go from Avengers to this. How could they be that foolish?
Yeah, it doesn't. It looks like it's. It does not look that good. It kind of looks like a less fun looking Genshin Impact.
Yeah.
Ugh,
Except it costs
right.
money.
Right. Except it's not free.
Yeah. But the
It's
open
kind of a
beta
bummer.
registration is available now. So if you want to go get on that beta, if you go ahead.
Go ahead.
Dare ya.
Nobody's stopping you.
I'm not going to do it. I think it looks so bad I'm not even willing to give it a try, which really sucks, but that was my biggest disappointment of E3 right there.
Yeah, that's disappointing.
Yeah.
On a lighter note, we did get some Life is Strange news. They're remastering Life is Strange,
Please
the original,
put that in quotes.
the first, and no, just the first. I'm sorry.
First and second.
Oh, is it the second as well?
Yeah.
So Life is Strange 1 and Life is Strange 2 are both getting remastered. They're coming September 30th. Not a game that I would necessarily call for a remaster just because of the style of it. I don't think that it has aged poorly. I think that it looks fine.
Apparently the developers hadn't thought it either because it looks exactly the same.
Yeah, it's pretty much identical. A little bit weird. Don't know why they made that decision. I know a lot of people like the game. I liked the game. I really liked the first game. But I have no desire to buy it again because I already bought it once and it looks exactly the same.
The wipes, if you've seen the trailer, they do wipes to like show what the remaster looks like. It is the funniest thing I've ever seen. It just looked like they turned down the brightness 2 notches and that was it. I laughed so much.
Yes. And then they also showed us a little bit more of the next Life is Strange game, Life is Strange True Colors, which is out September 10th. And it looked pretty good. I don't know. I like the style a lot. I just sort of feel like Life is Strange 2. Nah. What was it? Captain Wonderful or whatever? What was the spinoff?
Something like that. I forget already.
I feel like everything that has happened since Life is Strange has been a little bit lower quality. So I'm hoping that True Colors breaks that trend a little bit, but we'll see.
I'm confused why they're releasing a remastered collection after the new game instead of releasing the remastered collection so people can play it before the new game.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe they just think that after playing this one, people might want to go back and play the first two.
Yeah.
But I don't really get it either. Yeah.
Well, they did one more thing at the end, a very classic move, and they showed off a brand new game, which we have actually discussed because it leaked a good few weeks ago, called Final Fantasy Origin, Stranger of Paradise. So that subtitle is new. It is from Team Ninja. It is a third-person action game loosely based upon the first Final Fantasy. It is coming in 2022 to all the major platforms, PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, Series X, and PC. And there is a demo that was coming to the PS5. It was a bit of a debacle. I don't know if you heard about this, Kelly. There was a demo that was supposed to be available. They released it, and then I went and downloaded it. Super excited. I clicked X. It's like, time to play, time to have fun. And it said, your data is corrupted. Please close the game.
Oh, no.
I went to twitter.com to confirm. They released a demo that would not open. And a lot of good memes came out of it. They said the word chaos about 40 times in the first trailer, and everybody's like, chaos has corrupted our PlayStations.
Yes. And that main character, who looks like Eminem.
Generic as all get out. This game is getting flack like I was not anticipating. I think a lot of it is warranted, but a lot of it is not, because this is on the trailer makers. The character is generic, but you can customize quite extensively. I did end up playing the demo because it was available as of today, so I played it before we hit record. And as soon as I started equipping stuff, it was substantially less generic looking. The visuals are rough right now, but also this game is probably over a year from launch and feels pretty finished gameplay wise. So I think a year to polish those visuals seems very reasonable. They have a feedback survey available for those who played the demo, and I'm going to fill it out extensively, honestly, because I want this game to succeed. It was unexpected. We knew it was coming because of the leak, but the general existence of this game was quite unexpected, and I'm excited to play it, for sure. Also, just as a jokey side note, the entire time I felt like I was speaking, Kelly was judging me, because in our shared Google document, I accidentally wrote that this game was coming out in 2032, and over and over while I was trying to talk about the visuals and stuff, Kelly just kept highlighting it and giggling to herself.
I'm sorry. That's when Final Fantasy 16 will be out.
2030. No, don't be ridiculous. That's when Final Fantasy 7 Remake Part 2 will come out.
Oh, you're right.
Oh.
That's sad.
All right, Kelly. So that was the Square Enix show. That was
Goodbye,
the last
Square
show.
Enix.
That was the last show we had to talk about before the big one. I thought that Nintendo freaking knocked it out of the park, so I'm excited to discuss this. This happened earlier today at the time of recording, a couple days ago at the time of this release. It happened on Tuesday, June 15th at noon. Shall we jump right into what they talked about?
Let's just dive on it.
They opened up with a nice trailer of a deceased Ganondorf, like straight up dead Ganondorf, drooling out of his mouth, being carried by somebody and then tossed into a volcanic river. It popped up. I said, "Oh my God, is this Breath of the Wild 2?" And I'm like, "No, that's ridiculous. It's not the right style." And then it zooms up, and none other than Kazuya from Tekken was announced to be joining Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. This was very exciting for me. I was not expecting this introduction. A lot of people are excited. It was, honestly, I probably should have seen this coming. Like, a lot of people should have seen this coming, but we were all like spitballing the same kind of ideas that we kind of forgot about the fact that a Tekken representative could have been here. He looks insanely unique and complicated. Like, they showed off all his moves and it was like a 2-minute show. I was in disbelief at just how much they showed. I'm very excited though. At this point, like, I don't really care what characters come to Smash because we have so many that I'm more interested in like gameplay diversity and stuff, which we most definitely got with this character.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. You've got Street Fighter, you've got Tekken. What's next? You've got Final Fantasy.
Me. Well, I guess me's are in the game, so I guess I could be in the game, but...
Right. That's no joke.
No joke. We will be talking a little bit more about this on the show closest to June 28th, because there will be a 40-minute presentation to discuss the character, which is, oh my goodness, a long presentation to talk about one character. But he looks extremely complicated. Looking forward to playing him again. June 28th, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. There will be a conference by Mr. Sakurai himself.
Yes. They also announced after that, as a follow-up, the Life is Strange remaster that we were discussing is coming to the Switch later this year, and the Life is Strange True Colors is coming out on the 10th of September for Switch. They also announced the Guardians of the Galaxy game on 10/26, the cloud version. Just your standard, like, this is also coming to the Switch, by the way. Just letting you guys know, these games are coming to the Switch, by the way, just in case you forgot.
The Guardians shocked me, because that game looks pretty technically demanding, so I was like, how on earth are they going to run this on a Switch? And then I was looking later and realized it's a cloud version, and I'm like, oh. Which, for those who don't know, you can stream certain big budget games to your Switch. Like, you have to pay $60, and then you have a downloaded version, but it's not actually a downloaded version. It's like you connect to the internet and stream from a different place. So I guess that's cool.
Yes.
It's cool that it's coming out on release day, at least.
Yeah.
And then very excitingly, we got a few little announcements. Worms Rumble is coming June 23rd. Astria Ascending is coming September 30th. And 2 Point Campus is coming next year. So that was a quick little bada boom, bada bing, back to back. Don't know why I got some musical there for a second, but that was another quick back to back announcement from them.
And then, very excitingly, following that right up, this year is Monkey Ball's 20th anniversary, and it's time for Banana Mania, baby, because they're releasing Monkey Ball Banana Mania October 5th, which is a remaster or a remake.
I guess probably it looks substantially upgraded, so I would say it's probably closer to a remake.
Yes, and I absolutely adored Super Monkey Ball. I love that game. I played it a lot when I was little, so I'm very excited.
Yeah, I know that from my understanding, it's very exciting for the hardcore fans that they're returning to 1, 2, and Deluxe instead of the lesser later entries. Yeah,
I'm excited. I love me those little monkeys.
When's that drop?
October 5th.
Okay. Wow, maybe that's going to be a theme for this show, is coming soon games.
Yes, definitely.
Following Monkey Ball and arguably kind of overshadowing Monkey Ball for a large segment of the audience. Sorry, Monkey Ball. I'm sorry, Monkey Ball, but like, Nintendo did not give it the time that it needed. I feel like they should have put it before all of those little games to give it a little more breathing room, because right after that, they mentioned Metroid Prime 4 and they were like, hey guys, We're working hard on it, but we have nothing to show you. However, we have something else to show you. And, you know, I'm a Metroid fan. I'm underserved. We do not get new games, like, ever. So I was like, this is going to be something small. This is going to be a remake of Super Metroid. This is going to be a collection of just the regular games. This is going to be something small. It's going to be small. I was wrong. They open up. They have Samus walking down a weird-looking hallway, and it says, Metroid 5. I went into panic mode. I was like, this isn't real. I'm dreaming. Wake me up. This game looks freaking dark and kind of spooky. And you know what it reminds me of a lot? Is the modern Resident Evil games. Because the whole point is this weird robot evil creature is just following you, and you cannot defeat them. They're called Emmy, and it's honestly pretty freaky. This trailer shows Samus being caught by Emmy and violently killed. Like, I was surprised at how violent this game was. And then shortly into the trailer, they announced that this 2D side-scrolling Metroid game would be called Metroid Dread. Metroid Dread has been a title that people have been colloquially using for a potential new Metroid game for literally 18 years.
Oh, wow.
So the fact that this is actually called that, I was just shocked. I was utterly shocked. And potentially even more shocked, this game is coming out October 8th, which is freaking soon, for a brand new game we didn't even know existed till today. They also showed off an amiibo that was Samus in her suit for this game, and the new villain Emmy, and that's a 2-pack for $30 coming out on the same day as the game. I'm stoked. Truly stoked. I don't know if you're a Metroid fan, Kelly, but I'm stoked.
Yeah, I think it's very exciting, especially because I appreciated that they were like, don't worry, we're still working on 4. But here's this. But here's just a little.
It reminds me a lot of the Breath of the Wild thing a couple months ago when they showed off Skyward Sword and they were like, sorry, we can't show you Breath of the Wild. We're sorry. But at least they showed something insane because, you know, that was disappointing because it was Skyward Sword HD. But this was exciting because it was a brand new 5th Metroid side-scroller. It has been 19 years. It has been almost our entire lives, Kelly.
Well, not mine. I'm really old.
How old are you, Kelly? Tell me how old you are.
I couldn't tell you. A lady does not share her age.
Is it because if you said something a little bigger than yours, you could offend some of our audience, and if you said something too high, it would be so ridiculous that I would not believe you?
A lady never shares.
Does a lady share the next news piece at least?
Yes, and a lady also shares that she played Mario Party 4 when it first came out. Anyway, yeah, so they announced Mario Party Superstars, which is sort of like an all-star Mario Party mini games game. I think it's like a mainstay, like they had maps and stuff. Like it was Mario Party proper, but it has like mini games from a bunch of the old Mario parties, which is exciting because some of the old ones, I really, really enjoy the games. It's coming out on October 29th of this year. My only qualm with it is that it is $60, which seems a little bit much to me for a game that is full of games that we have already played.
Yeah. I mean, because they are using the N64 maps, if you look at the side-by-sides, it's pretty insane. Like, these are ground-up remakes. They are not just polished. And, like, UI-wise, like, it looks like a bit cleaner than Super Mario Party, but it's still clearly using, you know, the Super Mario Party bones. I'm excited. This is the first time I think I'm going to buy a Mario Party, which is interesting.
I bought Mario Party 4 or 5 from Blockbuster when I was younger. Because Blockbuster, for those who don't know, was a store that used to rent out movies and games physically. And at my local Blockbuster, if you rented a game and you had it for long enough, you could just buy it off of Blockbuster. I once bought Dragon Age Origins. I know you guys, I have to talk about it every episode.
Even when there's not Dragon Age news.
I once bought Dragon Age Origins for $1 from Blockbuster. So, because they were like, you rent this game too much. Just buy it. So anyway, long story short, I will also be playing this Mario Party Superstars, All-Stars, Super All-Stars.
Superstars All-Star. Is that correct, or is that a...
No, I was just frantically typing everything that I saw on the screen as I was trying to eat my lunch and watch the direct all at once. It's kind of stressful.
I'm very excited. It looks goofy. I'm glad that I know this is a very small thing. You have to pay 20 coins to get a star. Whew. Having to pay 10 in Super Mario Party kind of imbalanced it because people could get to the star super quick and like get it no matter what. Whereas now you kind of have to take your time a little bit more. So I'm happy Birdo's back as a character.
Justice for Birdo.
Justice for Birdo. We'll see how it turns out. I'm sure it'll be... Super Mario Party was very well received for Mario Party games, so I think it'll be pretty beloved, honestly. So, and it's not too far away.
It's true.
Moving on from the Nintendo news, we got a new trailer for Just Dance 2022. How many times can we bring up Just Dance in this episode? I'm just curious.
It's Just Dance season, all right? You call it E3 season, I call it Just Dance season.
I have a major announcement. This show is canceled. And then they showed off Cruisin' Blast, and then they announced that Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is coming to Switch, and that's September 24th. Couple little headlines right in a row.
And then right after that, they followed up with a new Mario Golf game. It's coming out 6/25, so about a week from Friday, from this upcoming Friday, a week from now. They were showing off a variety of different game modes. So it's not just like, 18 holes. There's different ways to play the game. So I don't know. I really like the only Mario sports game that I ever played was the tennis one.
I'm glad that you tried to motion a tennis racket and just punched a water bottle.
I forgot what it was called. I thought it was Strikers, but then I think I'm thinking of Persona.
Strikers is the soccer one.
What was the tennis one?
Mario Tennis Aces?
I don't know. But I remember Daisy being in it and her being like, I mean, you know how Daisy is. She's
the worst.
She's an HBIC. Oh. No, it wasn't Aces. It was on the
Aces
GameCube.
Was the new one. Oh, okay. I don't know what that one's called.
Power Tennis.
There you go.
Yeah.
Look at us with all the video game knowledge. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad they didn't spend too long on this game since we've known about it for several months, and it's also out in 10 days from the time of this recording, so I was a little worried they were going to waste our time with that, but they did not. But speaking of very soon to release games, we also saw a new trailer for Monster Hunter Stories 2, which is, again, out on July 9th. It was also shown off at Summer Games Fest, and it was also shown off at the Capcom event, so I saw enough. I'm done. Your game's out.
Seen enough.
Your game's out in less than a month. You don't have to show it off at 3 conferences, but it looks very nice. I watched a little bit of the Treehouse demo because honestly, most of the trailers are just cinematics, so it was nice to actually see what the game will look like. I don't know if I'll pick this one up, but it looks like a very solid and fluid turn-based RPG. So,
yeah. A big announcement came right after that. New WarioWare, which was crazy. It was a trailer narrated by our friend Wario, friend of the show. Wario. It's going to be out on September 10th, which is really very soon. It has 2-player capabilities. The trailer was very fun with its quote unquote micro games. I'm really excited. I love, love, love WarioWare. I remember I used to borrow my friend Alex's Game Boy Advance SP, and I would flip it, and we would play WarioWare on it. It was so much fun. So I'm very, very excited, and that's really soon. So
Yeah. Yeah, this was when it became very apparent to me that, because this year was looking kind of bad for Nintendo. There's nothing going on, and at this point in the show, I'm like, oh my god, this year is freaking incredible. I had no idea.
mhm.
So I'm very excited. I think it's interesting. The whole shtick to this one is that there's fewer micro games, but the way you play it is different for each character. So each character has different abilities, which
Mhm.
is very different from how they've done it in the past. But honestly, like the way this formula is set up, that's probably the best way to do it. So I'm excited. I'm very, very excited.
Mhm. Me
So
too.
not long at all. Continuing the trend of 2021 releases, we saw the first real extensive look at Shin Megami Tensei 5. That's a new Atlas RPG. It's coming out November 12th, which leaked a couple weeks ago, sadly, but the trailer itself was not leaked, so this was all news. They showed off the actual traversal of the game. They showed off the combat for the first time. The main character's hair is
Beautiful.
too beautiful. I really, really love the androgyny of the main character. I think it's really a bold stance to be taking, because like, these days I just love seeing stuff like that. I guess all
Mhm.
days, honestly, every day. Um,
Yeah.
but for those who maybe don't know a lot about the series but know about Persona, this is actually older than Persona. The Shin Megami Tensei brand is what led into the Persona games. At some point, Persona became so popular that they took off the Shin Megami Tensei subtitle and just made it its own thing. So it's funny that the son has surpassed the father, if you will. But now, Daddy's home. Do I cut that part? Do I cut it? We'll see. You'll know, audience, because it'll be there probably. But I was super excited to see this game finally extensively. I was surprised at how soon it was coming out, honestly. I didn't know if they'd make this year, because we had seen so little, but now we've seen tons, and I'm like, oh, okay, this game's actually ready. Um, and it's exclusive to Nintendo Switch, which that's kind of a trend for them now. SMT4 was also exclusive to Switch and its sequel, but I'm super excited, and this game looks really, really nice.
Yes. I was just laughing because I was eating lunch at the time, and I was thinking about if you took a shot every time the narrator said the word demon, you would be dead by the end of the trailer. They said demon so much. It was like the only word I could hear. Like it was the only one that started to not sound like a word anymore. So but
All right,
yeah, I
audience.
agree.
Challenge for you. Go watch this 3-minute trailer and take a shot every time he says demon.
Don't. You will die.
You will
You
be
will
gone.
you will incur liver damage, kidney damage, liver damage, mental damage,
Death. All
death,
life damage.
life damage. Speaking of death and life damage, it's a pretty good
Oh my
transition.
goodness.
Danganronpa, I can never say it.
I think it's
Danganronpa's 10-year anniversary.
Dangan. Dangan.
I think it's Danganronpa. The 10-year anniversary is this year. So they are porting 3 Danganronpa games to the Switch. It's called, how many times am I going to say this? Danganronpa Decadence. It's going to be a physical exclusive? Question mark? And it's going to come out late this year. No date, just late 2021. That's all we got. So I imagine this is very exciting for fans of that series because they are like diehard fans. I remember when it first blew up on Tumblr, it was crazy.
Mm-hmm. There's also a
So
small amount of new content, so.
right. So that's very exciting for that fans of that series.
Yeah. Speaking of re-releases, we had an announcement. Honestly, as excited as I was by all the other news, this may have been the most surprising to me, not necessarily in a good way. Fatal Frame: Maiden of Blackwater is coming to Switch this year. That is a Wii U game. Uh, I played that game back when it came out because it was released in chapters over time, and they gave the first chapter away as like a way to get the audience in, get people to interested so that they buy the future chapters. And I played that first chapter and I hated it so much. It was really bad and hard to play.
Was that your first Fatal Frame?
Yeah, and I heard that was a bad way to enter.
Yeah, I like the Fatal Frame series, but I never played this one because I didn't have a Wii U. So
hopefully because it's been a long time. Hopefully they really polish this up and are able to make it a far more enjoyable game. It's very possible, so I'm not opposed to giving it another try if they did a lot of good work on it.
Yeah, that's true. They had another like quick blast of announcements. Doom Eternal, the first campaign was released on Switch on the day of the conference, so June 15th. Doom Eternal's first campaign was on Switch. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 will be releasing on June 25th, so about a week, about 10 days from the conference, the day of the conference. And then Strange Brigade, never heard of this game in my life, but it also released on the day of the conference, the 15th. So, just a quick little blast of like, boom, 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 here's some stuff for you right now that's available on the Switch. And then I think they were implying with Doom Eternal that because the first campaign was released, they would be releasing more down the line.
Yeah, that seems fair.
Porting more, I should say.
Next up, they had something I personally was not expecting whatsoever. Advance Wars Reboot Camp, which is a remake of Advance Wars 1 and 2. So I guess I should say Reboot Camp. Depends. It sounded kind of stupid the way I said it, didn't it? Oops.
Well, I wasn't going to say anything, but...
It is a remake of 1 and 2, Advance Wars 1 and 2, which are, if I'm not mistaken, 17 years old. Which is nuts.
They're very old, yeah.
That series has very much been dormant, so I was not expecting to see it come back. The way that Fire Emblem is taken off, because they're both made by Intelligent Systems, I expected that this game was just going to lie dormant forever, It's a very chibi art style. They have like animated 2D anime character designs that move around and stuff, but then on the field it's like little toy-like chibi figures, and it's a tactical RPG war game. I'm probably going to give this a try because, I really like Intelligent Systems designs, like their design choices and stuff, and a good tactical RPG is always fun. So I'm not huge on the chibi style, but I trust that the game will be fun enough that I won't super care.
Yeah. I know. I really like Fire Emblem, but I just don't know if I can do it with Advance Wars.
Yeah.
It's just I don't have a personal stake. Like when I'm playing Fire Emblem, I'm like, these two characters are gonna get married, and that's why I have to keep them alive.
Well, if this succeeds, maybe Intelligent Systems would go back, because if they made a game as extensive and thought out as Fire Emblem in the Advance Wars series, they could do some really incredible things, I think.
That's true.
So
that is true.
Maybe this will succeed and that'll happen.
So as we close out the conference, or the direct, I should say, we received news about the next Hyrule Warriors DLC, the first wave, which will be coming out in 3 days from recording, June 6th or June 18th. I'm sorry. And then the second wave coming out in November. This was sort of the beginning of a series of Zelda news pieces.
Zelda
because
on bike.
Exactly. Zelda was on a motorcycle. That was pretty cool. And you can also play as one of those of the Guardians. I don't know if you could always do that. I'm not super familiar
No.
with Hyrule Warriors. I can't say it, first of all.
That's news.
But yeah, I don't really care for Warriors style games, but I do like that Minda is in it. So.
Well, she's not in this one.
Oh, she's not? Oh, no,
No.
because this is the Age of Calamity. You're right.
Yeah. So I
was
did
thinking
play
of the
this
last one.
I loved this game a lot, actually, but it's also one of those series that I acknowledge I enjoyed it start to finish, and then as soon as I finished, I'm like, done. I don't want to play anymore. I had my fill, and if I play even a little more, I'm going to start hating it. I'm excited for hardcore fans that it's getting good DLC, and that Zelda's on a bike, because I love Zelda on a bike.
She is on that bike.
It's really cool. I think if you haven't played Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity and you like Breath of the Wild a lot, it's worth looking into if you're willing to play the warrior style. I like it in what's the word when you don't want something a lot?
In moderation.
I like it in moderation. Thank you, Kelly. But, it's not something I'd play every day. But for this, it was also interesting because the story was so directly linked to Breath of the Wild. So let's speed on along because we have some news to get to that is even more exciting than this. Game & Watch. That's all. That's the news. Thank you for tuning in. So for those who don't know, Game & Watch is a little 2D handheld. They used to make them back in the 70s and 80s. Nintendo did, and they had little games on them, but they were also a watch. Mr. Game & Watch is a character in Super Smash Bros. Based on all of those old games, but they announced that they're going to release a new one for the Legend of Zelda's 35th anniversary, which was also a weird way to confirm that they don't have any serious anniversary plans. A lot of people, they were like, yeah, this is for the anniversary. That's all that you're getting, which was very peculiar because everybody was waiting for them to do a similar thing to Mario's 35th anniversary. But alas. But this Game & Watch will include Legend of Zelda 1, Legend of Zelda 2, and the Game Boy version of Link's Awakening. And there will also be some little Game & Watch mini games with little Link. And I know Kelly's a fan because she put a tiny smiley face right next to that.
I said, OMG, G, 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 Game & Watch Link, smiley face.
And there will also be a watch because it's a Game & Watch. So there'll be a nice little clock feature and a countdown feature in it with little Legend of Zelda animations happening all around it. So that's coming out this year. Good luck getting one. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. I was kind of disappointed with the anniversary. I guess they did. Maybe I'm confused, but I felt like the last big Zelda anniversary, maybe it was the 30th one, they had the big orchestra celebration.
Yeah, that's correct.
So, I don't know. I was kind of disappointed. I thought they'd do a little bit more with it, but I guess that's just... Maybe they couldn't really do a whole lot just because of COVID and things of that nature. And, I guess we'll see you in 5 years for the 40th anniversary. But
maybe it's because they're putting too much money into the next thing we're going to discuss.
That's true. They dropped a big old honking piece of news on us right at the end. They showed us some Breath of the Wild 2 footage, gameplay, and cinematic footage. They are calling for a 2022 release date, which I was kind of expecting. It seems to be the same map almost as the first one, plus like an added sky level, which is kind of like in theme with the Skyward Sword remaster that's coming out next month, which is kind of cool. I would like to see a little bit more gameplay because a lot of it did look kind of similar to the first game, which is not surprising. It's a direct sequel. But I want to see a little bit more. I want to see what they've added.
What about the part where Link bops his head on the roof of one part, and then he goes through the floor, and then he come out up top. What about that part, Kelly?
You know what? I did see that part.
Oh,
That was pretty.
Kelly, what about that part where Link had long hair?
I did see that part as well. I
Oh,
actually
wait,
thought
Kelly,
that was.
what about that part where Link's arm looks funky?
Oh, oh yeah. I also saw that part. Yeah. It's funny, all these parts that you're talking about, I've seen them. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a long trailer, so if you hadn't seen them, I'd be very confused.
I want to play as Zelda.
I thought that when I saw Link falling from the sky, I thought it was Zelda. Because Zelda
Me
has
too.
shorter hair now, and I just saw a person in a tunic, which I thought was a dress, falling from the sky, and I got very excited. I was like, playable Zelda! And then I saw
I'm
another
just
angle, and I was like, oh.
exactly. And I'm saying they've made it very hard to differentiate the two because now Link's hair is longer and Zelda's hair is shorter.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they're both kind of androgynous, especially Link. I mean, Link, Link is like the epitome of like androgyny, you know what I mean? Especially in Breath of the Wild. Just a
Yeah.
beautiful person. And I feel like I want to play Zelda. I'm putting my foot down. It's time.
I mean, it's still possible. I think that they're aware of the demand, and because of how popular Zelda is, especially now, it's very possible that there's going to be some like Dark World stuff or something going on, because she fell down a hole at the beginning. Do you remember that part where she fell down the hole?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, girl, I did not spend all that time in the first game trying to get you back for you to fall down a hole.
I really
Okay.
hope that she's heavily integrated into the story and that she's not a damsel. I'm not going to make any judgments on what the story of this game is because this trailer did not say much story-wise. It showed a lot of gameplay and also showed some really, really cool new enemies and stuff, which, I think that's the biggest criticism of Breath of the Wild is that there's so few enemies, and now there's like a big stone boy, snake boy, and like a gross ceiling snake thing that Link lights on fire with his fire hand.
But don't worry. There's still Bobuklins.
One more try.
Boblokins.
If your name is Bob Loken, we apologize for using your likeness.
I'm triggering your Google alerts, Bob. Sorry.
That's going to be the first tag of this podcast is Bob Loken and then video games. But the internet is really exploding over this trailer. It's funny, we mentioned the like ratio earlier. This also has the same number of dislikes, 1.4 thousand, but it does have 181,000 likes. So I think it might be winning. Yeah. But there's a lot of like hints at interesting new mechanics, This trailer was not a deep dive, but the Sky World, I'm assuming it'll be called something else. The Sky World looks really interesting. Because my biggest concern was the fact that they said they were reusing Hyrule. And I was like, we already explored Hyrule. And I feel like a Dark World version kind of might have been a little less interesting than than something completely new. And putting a bunch of platforms in the sky is very new. So.
Okay, here's my wish list.
Go.
Let me play Zelda.
Yeah.
Are we getting a reverse world? Where's Midna? She should be in a reverse world if that's going to happen. Third, we're up in the sky. I would like to see Groose. That's all.
I wonder if Loftwings will be here.
Do you think? Maybe like evolved Loftwings?
Yeah.
Like they're like really big and scary now.
Oh, what if they're corrupted?
Or like a Shadow of the Colossus thing where you have to oh my god. Nintendo?
Call us.
I have some ideas. Mr. Bowser, I have some ideas.
As a side note, this trailer's music was like trippy. And I really liked, so they ended on a castle shot that lasted like 20 seconds, like super long. And it's kind of similar to the way that the first teaser ended. But the music that played over it, I was like, nah, you could just stay here if you're going to keep playing this music. Like, I'll watch this for a whole nother 2 minutes if we get to hear this music more.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy it's next year. When we were talking about our hopes last week, my big thing was I really want Breath of the Wild this year, and I want a deep dive. And I mean, I would have liked that, but the big reason I said that is because this year looked so empty, you know?
Right.
But now in this Nintendo Direct, we got a new Smash character, we got a new Metroid entry, we got Mario Superstars Party, Mario Party.
Yes.
A new WarioWare, SMT coming this year, Hyrule Warriors DLC, and Advance Wars. And that's all this year.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm much more okay with a 2022 release date for that game now.
Yeah, and I think Nintendo did a really good job with their Direct. The only person we didn't hear from was Animal Crossing.
Yeah, I wonder if...
Mr. Nook.
Mr.
Isabel?
Nook. I did
Anybody
expect
home?
some updates for sure, so I was a little surprised.
I guess we're kind of in that point with the like cycle of Animal Crossing where all the events are kind of the same, but I don't know. I was kind of expecting a little something about, I don't know, something for the summer.
I expected
maybe a character.
Yeah, I expected some paid DLC, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So I was quite surprised that they didn't have something to show. Because I think at this point, paid DLC would be quite justified with all the free stuff.
Yeah,
so if they did some extensive paid stuff, that would have been fine with me.
What was your favorite? What's your most anticipated? Besides maybe Breath of the Wild, what's your most anticipated game?
I was going to say because Breath of the Wild 2, but since that's pretty far off, I guess I should probably go to something else. I think it's a 3-way tie. No, a 2-way tie between WarioWare and SMT5. You know, the same character, or the same games, basically.
It's an epic crossover event.
I mean, they are both in Smash. There's an SMT character in Smash and Wario.
That's true.
How about you? What's your number one from this?
I am really, really excited for WarioWare. That's all. I mean, I'm obviously excited for everything. I'm really excited for Breath of the Wild too, but if we're talking this year, I'm excited for WarioWare.
It was a 3-way tie. Metroid's also in there. Metroid Dread. That was E3. E3 2021.
2021.
Stick it in the bank.
Go ahead and lock it in.
I don't even know what that sound was, but that's what I'm going to do.
It's over, folks. Hey, but you know what's coming up? On July 22nd, EA Play, which I'm
Dragon
just
Age.
saying, you know who EA owns, so
yeah.
Maybe we'll hear about The Sims. Maybe we'll hear about some EA Sports. Maybe we'll hear about a certain age.
So I know we just talked about Nintendo. Is there any other big game announcement from the entirety of the show that got you hyped up, including Summer Games Fest?
Elden Ring.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's a pretty stereotypical answer, but
there's a reason though.
I know it's just it looks so good. I've been rewatching the trailer over and over again, like a person who's locked inside of a room with nothing but the Elden Ring trailer, but I'm doing it by choice.
Yep.
I'm very excited for it. It's been a long time coming.
This has been a far better E3 than I expected, if I'm being honest. I'm very excited that we got so much news, and also that this very bad looking video game year filled out very much, especially from Nintendo. So I think that covers it. I think we did it.
I think we did it, folks. Thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah, this was kind of intensive for us. So this is going to be 2 episodes, as you know, because this is the second episode as the time of listening, but we did this in one big old recording session.
Mhm.
And that was a lot of heckin' news to discuss. Did you have
It
fun,
was
Kelly?
a lot. I did, yes. I did have fun.
Only 365 days until E3 2022.
That's going to be crazy.
I'm going to say one thing just real quick. I did a Google search last night. I can't speak English. Did you know that?
It's been like 3 hours.
And I don't want to be a pessimist about this, but my biggest hope was Bayonetta 3, which obviously, come and gone, did not happen. So I decided to Google it. Do you want to know how many days it's been since we saw Bayonetta 3?
How many days?
As of time of recording, June 15th, it was 1,286 days.
Oh my god.
What a bad franchise to be a fan of.
They better let my girl go.
Thank you for the salute, Kelly.
That's supposed to be Bayonetta.
But I'm going to be honest, I didn't care, which was insane. Nintendo clearly knocked it out of the park that I was okay with no Bayonetta because there was just so much good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But this has been our episode. This has been our E3 special. That was so freaking fun. What a time.
Ooh, what a time.
What a time. So tune in next week for our regular episode. We'll be talking about whatever news comes down the pipe, probably quite a bit slower after this week. We'll also be reviewing Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, as well as Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. So, thank you for listening. This has been our 2-part 2021 E3 special. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week.
See you next week.